Spoken Word is brought to you by the Via Bicycle Cafe in Estes Park,
Sorry,
Colorado.
I didn't call Josh. Do our little segment on coffee.
It's fine. It's fine. It's a little difficult to talk about coffee without Josh here.
Yeah.
Josh roasts our coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, we mentioned something about that before. So, did you enjoy the parade?
I stayed at home.
Yeah?
Dad,
Yeah.
what if you just do and walk up?
She might be right, yeah.
All right.
So, what gifts do you have for under $20?
So we actually have a ton of gifts under $20. We've got, for cyclists, we've got like phone bags and saddlebags and all sorts of stuff like that. We also have, for cyclists and non-cyclists, socks and t-shirts, which, I mean, for the most part, everyone can get into.
Can you tell me about the brands of socks?
Sure. So we've got a couple more that we're bringing in, but 10 Speed Hero and Handlebar Mustache are the two socks that we chose to kind of carry at first. Super fun, bright colors, not your boring, just black or white socks.
That's fun. So, what do you have for under and around $100?
So we actually have a pretty good amount for around $100. We have our shop kit, which incorporates a little bit of Colorado in there as well, so you can kind of use it as a souvenir. We have matching bib shorts, headwear, so cycling caps and trucker hats, and t-shirts, like I mentioned, with around $20.
Why is there so much pink?
so I just kind of always gravitated toward that color. We've tried really hard to tone that back a little bit, so there's not so much pink, and you get guys that just aren't into wearing a ton of pink. But for the most part, it's just a favorite color.
So, what do you have for in and around $1,000?
So for around $1,000, we've got public bikes, which actually start well under $1,000. They start at around $350, depending on the style of bike and the components on it. They can get to be around $800. But for the most part, like they start pretty inexpensive. They're great. They come with Shimano components. They look amazing. They have color matched rims. Yeah, they're just really great upright commuter bikes. And yeah, they just look fantastic too.
They're very brightly colored.
Yeah.
So, what do you have for kids stuff?
We have all sorts of good stuff. We have stuff from 2-year-olds all the way up to 10-year-olds and then up to adult bikes. So we've got Strider bikes, which are a pretty popular balance bike brand. And then we have an assorted variety of Schwinn bikes. So if you're more comfortable with your child being on training wheels, we have similar sized bikes to the Striders, but with training wheels all the way up to older kids, and then we've got smaller sized mountain bikes as well.
What do you have for people who aren't really interested in bikes but still come with their families?
Sure. So we always offer our coffee, flat top coffee in 12-ounce bags and smaller 4-ounce bags. But for the holidays, we're actually pairing varietals to specific brewing methods that kind of highlight that coffee. So for instance, we'd have like an Ethiopian coffee with a V60 pour over method, and then we'd have Guatemala with a French press. So that's, we kind of just want to make it easy for you to come in, grab, some coffee, a grinder, and a method, and then just be on your way and make great coffee at home.
What do you have if money doesn't matter?
So we've got a couple different options if money doesn't matter, actually more than that. We've got the my wife might divorce me option, which is the Scott Addict SL. It is essentially a climber's bike. It weighs about 13 pounds, a little bit under, and it costs roughly $10,000. We also have the option for someone to go full custom through Parley, and they're an excellent choice. But I mean, that bike can go in upwards of $10,000, $15,000 somewhere in there.
Okay, so why are they so expensive?
Sure. So with Parley, you get a bike that's fit to you. So we take your measurements, we ask you what kind of riding you'll do, and you have a bike that's yours. So it's fit just for you. They also have some pretty interesting manufacturing techniques. They especially on the Z0, they were one of the first to invent a mitered construction. So you get, a piece of carbon fiber tubing that's mitered perfectly to the head tube, and then they lay carbon around it. And those processes just take time and man hours, and that's why things kind of get up there in price.
Okay, so thank you for giving us some insights on what to give people for the holidays.
Sure.
If they're into bikes and stuff.
Rambling. That's
Yes, I am.
That's called rambling.
Yes, it is.
And I get to take the mic at this point. Thanks for all your time. Thanks for all the coffee. Thanks for all the suggestions. Thank you for laughing and giggling and helping out with this. Zoe is part of the big deal now. Next time we'll have to make sure to get
My shoe
Josh.
is caught.
And her shoe is caught. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Woohoo!
Yay!
What if it broke? What if it broke? What if it broke? How would you feel? Walk away. Walk away.
No!
What if
That was terrible.
or whatever you're supposed to say? I don't remember anymore. We've only done this twice.
No.